everyone, welcome to the Green-Eyed Ram. I'm Ruthie. This podcast is basically my life. It's a knitting podcast, it's a creative podcast, it's a adventure podcast, it's pretty much whatever content I can think of to share with you, to encourage you to be creative in your life and adventuresome to explore the world around you. So welcome to the Green-Eyed Ram. The first thing I wanted to talk to you about is what I'm wearing, because this is the most obvious. Last time I spoke, this is the Soldotna crop by Caitlin Hunter with a few modifications. I extended the arms and made the body much longer to a full sweater rather than a crop. I'll take some pictures or video and stick them in here somewhere so that you can see the full body, because if I stand up right now, there's just not enough room. I had hoped to review this with you sooner, but life happened. So some of the things that I learned about this sweater, or making this sweater, let me think. One of the things that I learned was about German short rows. It makes the back a little higher so the front sits lower. I'm not a real fan of how that sits. It kind of makes the back really quite tall on me. So I don't think that in this particular pattern works for me. But it was an interesting experience and I did learn about it. So it was something I hadn't done. And before starting, if you hear noises, I have a new puppy and they are playing and making lots and lots of noise. Okay, so before choosing the colors, this is something I wanted to share. My method, everybody's different, obviously. You may have another way of figuring out what colors go together. Maybe you do a swatch and put all your colors in. And I'm really lazy. I guess that's the truth. Dogs. Yeah, I didn't want to do that much work. So I thought of another way to figure it out. Basically, what I did was I took the actual, I'll show you the pattern really quick. Don't want any copyright issues. What I did was I printed the pattern in black and white. And because I like to paint and I have watercolors on hand, I thought, well, why don't I just, choose the colors in watercolor that would be the colors that I have and mix them up and see how I like the combination. So that's what I did here. And I tried variations of the color. And you'll see that this one has way more orange and this one has way more blue, which is what I ended up doing here, because when I did it the other way around, there was way too much orange taking up the space, and against my color tones, not a fan. Not that I don't like orange, because it's kind of a golden orange and it's pretty, but I just didn't want that much. So that's how I figured out what colors I was going to use. And I didn't, I did swatch, which another thing I'm not a really big fan of, because I don't like to do that much work before I get started on a project. But I'm learning, and I'm learning how to use that to my advantage. I mean, I'm learning that they've stopped. No, they haven't. I'm learning about gauge and how important it is to be able to apply it to a sweater so it fits better and you have enough wool, and so gauge is important. And in this case, I think it was 14 rows and 10 stitches to meet gauge on a 3.75 needle, and it's DK weight, pretty much, or so a rustic DK, I think it's called. And that was that. So here I go again. So no more sews. I'm going to work on the no sews. So the Soldotna crop is really super comfortable. Oh, I also learned about blocking. I have never been a big fan of blocking. It may be because I never really used, I knit in a lot of acrylic and a lot of inexpensive yarns, and these are better quality, 100% wool, merinos, yak, a bit of cashmere, you know, so they were going to be responding differently because it's a natural fiber as opposed to, you know, acrylic that just is going to be what it's going to be, and blocking isn't going to help a whole lot. So I learned about blocking and what a difference it made. And the reason I'm noting the difference is you might be able to see here there's like little spaces. That one mistake I made, there's so much increasing that goes across from the collar through the yoke, and the make one increase was also new to me, and I messed up a little because I was picking up that middle bar that goes between the V's of the two stitches, and you pick it up, but instead of knitting in the back of it, I was just knitting it off. So as a result of that, I have some holes, but the holes dissipated when I blocked it, so it's not as obvious, but I did learn something from it, and so now I know how to do that better. So there we go. So I really gotta stop that. Next, oh, while I'm sitting here, just conveniently, right here is a work in progress. This is a cow that I've been working on for a long time. I started it, I loved it, and then I got distracted and I never got back to it. So it too is a work in progress, and one day will be finished. There are cows outside that I've painted. Maybe I'll show you those. This is the Soldotna Crop by Caitlin Hunter. Now, what did I learn? I learned that I would like it to have more shaping. I made it kind of boxy, which is fine. Some sweaters are boxy and it's comfortable, and I like how it drapes and hangs and it's cozy. The sleeves are just above the elbow. Maybe a little longer would have been nicer. I didn't really put any shaping in there. I didn't put any shaping in the body. After the crop would have stopped here, or even higher probably. Could I have gone shorter? Yes. If you look at it like this, I could have gone shorter. I also definitely could have put quite a bit of shaping in to make it give me a little bit of more, you know, silhouette. But it's comfortable. It's a comfortable boxy sweater, and I'm learning and I'm happy with it. I've been busy and I finished another sweater. It's the Epistrophe, sorry I butchered that word, by Kate Davies, who is an incredible designer and has some beautiful pieces, and here it is. If you follow me on Instagram, you will see my work in this. Let me tell you about this sweater. Oh, it feels so soft. It's so soft. It was meant to be a cardigan. That's what the pattern says. It was meant to be my first steeking, which is cutting your wool. And when I put it on, it was so beautiful and it fit so good. And I thought, if I cut this, I'm gonna ruin it. And I hate the idea of wearing a cardigan that's gonna pull against your bust and it's just gonna have opening, because it fit perfectly as a pullover. And I thought, oh, what am I gonna do? So I got creative. This is my front, which was the back. And what I did, and Puppy thinks so too, where the steeking lines were, the extra stitches you put into your pattern, so that when you're ready to cut through the middle, these are just stitches for that purpose, creates lines for you to follow. That was left over on my pattern, and I thought, well, it doesn't look very good, and I'm not going to leave it there. I got creative, and I picked up a button band where it's not even a real button band because it doesn't open. But what I did was I picked up the stitches along the one side of the steeking lines, which would be the button band, and I created a button band. I knit the button band, but instead what I did was I sewed it down on top, and now it's the back. So it's like you have a little button thing in the back. Now I'm sure there's no short row shaping in this one. There's no specific collar or whatever, so you can actually wear it front or back, and I'll show you what this looks like on in just a moment. But I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. I love the color work. I love the texture. I love how it snugs my arms. I love how, oh, in the body, you probably cannot notice. Let me see if I put it like this. You can see there's a curve in the shaping, so that allows for your bottom to be a little wider than your waist, and then it has some great shaping in the bust line. What did I learn? I learned a really important thing, and you probably noticed. This is hand-dyed yarn. You know what happens with hand-dyed yarn? Pooling. So I didn't pay attention. I'd heard that it would be a good idea to use 2 skeins of wool and alternate every row so as to avoid pooling. And I looked at the colors, and I loved the colors, and I thought, it's so pretty, but I got pooling. Now, I can see it's quite obvious here. You can almost see where one starts and the other one starts. But when you're wearing it, when I'm wearing it, the darkness is above the bust line and the lower portion is below, and you can't really notice it so much. And I don't really care. So will I, in the future, in my next project, will I use 2 skeins and alternate and use the helix method? Yes, I will. Yes, I will. And I will thank, there's a number of people I will thank for explaining why that's important. Podcasts where I've learned things. Anyways, so, yes, let me show you what this looks like on, because I'm really happy. Now, this one, the Kate Davies pattern, I'm not even going to try to say the name. Never mind, I'm not even going to try. This one is definitely more shapely. It has, obviously, I have bust. It has the shaped hip line and bust, and the sleeves are perfect. They're perfect length. When I blocked it, they grew, and they were pretty long, but it was easy to size it up. What did I learn about blocking on this one in particular? It was terrific because I measured everything before I blocked it. Before I put it into the water, I measured how big was the collar, how wide was the waist, and the length, because I really would have liked it to be just a little longer. It's not bad. It comes just mid-hip on me. A little longer would have been okay, so I tend to find myself doing this, but that's okay. So the sleeve length was terrific. By measuring everything, I knew what I felt comfortable in because I really liked how the sweater felt, and I didn't want to lose all the comfortable feelings that come with the sizing, but I wanted it longer, so I had to stretch it and manipulate it to make it a little bit longer. But as you can see here too, the pooling, you can see it more clearly, but I'm really not bothered by it. It actually kind of makes my chest look a little even bigger, which probably is not so great, but I don't really care. I'm happy. I made the sweater. Oh, let me show you the button band in the back. Number 2 of a garment for me. So, good experiment. Next question is, what else is on my needles? Or what's on my needles now? The entomologist, oh gosh, why is reading so hard? Entomologist, Danny Heraldi. This is what is going to be, well, not going to be, is on my needles. I have started, I've cast on, I've done quite a bit. Let me show you. This is the beginning, the color and the color work, and it's got this beautiful lacy golden butterfly lace work that's going to go as part of the yoke. I'm really excited about this one. It's beautiful. It's got some purple. I like it. This time I will, however, use 2 balls. I've already caked up a second one. Take a look at this. Isn't that beautiful? It's got all kinds of interesting colors in it. And along with the gold, which Dunder Knits Ravelry, who has a podcast called Knitting Vicariously, is going to, or talking about doing a knit along for Rhinebeck in gold. Now, will I be able to go to Rhinebeck? I don't know. I don't know if I can go to Rhinebeck. I'm in Ecuador. I don't know. I think it's in October. Maybe I could plan a trip. It would be fun. It'd be really neat to meet people and to just get my hands on all that fiber. I need to bring a second suitcase just for the fiber I would be bringing home. Anyways, you have to watch her podcast. She's amazing. Really interesting woman, does some beautiful knitting work, has some very strong opinions, of which I appreciate the honesty and directness, but really encouraging. And so I have a good laugh when I watch her, and I learn a lot. So that is Knitting Vicariously. Also, another, while I'm on the subject, I wanted to talk about some really amazing podcasts that you can learn from that aren't just instructional but inspirational. One of them is, one of my new favorites, is Ninja Chickens. Maria of Ninja Chickens is in North Carolina, I think. But she is a eco-dyer as well as a knitter and a mom and a homesteader, and really interesting woman, really interesting woman. So she has some amazing podcasts and some informative stuff. Another one that I really enjoy is Christy Glass Knits. I'll put links to all of these in the description box below, because these are some really fun, interesting podcasts. So why do I think that Christy Glass Knits is interesting is she's a character, first of all, and a great actress. She's got lots of pizzazz and character, but she's really good at interviewing people, and she gets people to talk about their knitting stories and their life, and that's really exciting because often knitting and crocheting is something that you do in the privacy of your own home, or tucked away at night watching TV or whatever, and you don't always get a chance to see other people or find out their story or learn from them or be inspired by them. And I like that idea. I like the idea of being inspired by other creative people and seeing their process and learning about being able to do and create and to make. And I think for me, hearing other people's stories, their history. I have a puppy who wants attention. Come here. Let me introduce you. This is Mia, who's interrupting, but she's so soft. Mia was going to be thrown away. In Ecuador, they're not really big on sterilizing their dogs or getting them fixed or anything else. And as a result of that, there's a lot of puppies. And they don't euthanize, they throw them in the river. So, again, with the so, as a result of that, my son, who's 14, saw one, and one of my workers at our chocolate factory had one, and she was rescuing it from this man who was going to throw him away, and he fell in love, and he had talked to his dad and then mom, and next thing I know, now I have 3 dogs, and that's the latest. I think she's maybe a little lab. She reminds me of Marley and Me, so hopefully she won't turn into a Marley. But her name is Mia, and she's adorable and soft and sweet and sharp teeth, sharp claws too. Anyways, latest edition. Back. Now, as I was saying, hearing other people's stories, their history, their creative process is very inspirational. It allows me to realize that anything is possible. You just have to go for it. And that's what they've done. They've gone for it. They've taken their experiences and elaborated on them and made businesses out of it for many of them. Sometimes it's just about the love of creativity, and so that is very inspirational to me because I enjoy creating and making. So, gosh, I really do have that as a word whisker. I wanted also to introduce you to something in my podcast about Ecuador. This time, it's a little bit about Ecuador, but it's really more about what happened in Ecuador last week on the Knit in Public Day, the worldwide event that has happened, obviously worldwide. Well, I took it upon myself to be the location of a Knit in Public Day. Some of you may know that I am a chocolate maker. I make bean to bar chocolate with heirloom cacao, and I have a chocolate factory and a restaurant and bistro here in Cuenca, Ecuador. And I decided that I have the space. Why not put something on and encourage the local creative people to come and enjoy? And I interviewed some of them, and now you're going to get a chance to meet some of the women who came, and I think there was a husband who, one of them is the mother of one of my workers, an amazing young man named Rowley. He's from Venezuela. He and his family escaped from Venezuela and came to Ecuador. And they have some interesting challenges, but they are beautiful, beautiful people. And she came and joined us, and I interviewed her too. hopefully I'll be able to put the translation in English across the bottom. Or I'll do a voiceover or something. We'll see how that goes. Enjoy. Hi there.
Hello.
So tell me who you are and tell me a little bit about your fiber story.
I'm Terry Drake. Here they call me Teresita Drake. I used to have a company called Drake's Nest Studios in the States, and I'm hoping to get it going again. I do thread painting, which is the fiber art. Like this is a thread painted piece here. It's using fabric paint and thread like you would paint by number, only I use threads.
Wow.
I crochet, I do needle felting, making little critters that you can turn into pins. I enjoy doing all kinds of things. I do jewelry, it's all crochet. I love a challenge, and I haven't found anything that I can't do yet. So I'm loving the good life here in Ecuador, and I thank Altisimo Chocolate Factory and Bistro for the chance to be here and show off some things and maybe sell a thing or two so that I can finance my hobby.
Well, thank you very much for coming. I really
You're welcome.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you. I love it. I love it.
I'm Sharon McIntosh. I started quilting right before I moved to Ecuador, so about 10 years ago. And I've been bringing all of the cotton down with me in suitcases because there isn't 100% cotton in Ecuador, which is crazy, but that's how it is. And let's see.
I'm Susan Armstrong, and I have done many things with fabric, quilts. I've even made large parkas with the fur around the hood and everything. And
Now
I
you
just
say
like-
parkas. Are you Canadian?
Yes.
How did I know these
Did you
things?
guess that?
I am too.
So I just knit for fun.
Awesome. And what are you wearing? Tell me about
I'm
what you're
a
wearing.
shawl, or I guess you'd call it a poncho. I'm not sure, but it was this long rectangle
Okay.
that I sewed together, so I don't have to worry about shawl pins.
Oh, terrific.
And this yarn I bought from Elizabeth.
Yes, Elizabeth over here has a huge stash that she's sharing with us. Awesome.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth, and I am a knitter, and I've taught knitting for over 10 years, and I teach people to knit. When I brought my container down, I brought way too much yarn. I have 25 suitcases of yarn to sell. More than I could do in my lifetime. I have knitting needles and crochet hooks and lots of stuff to sell. So let me know if I can help you with knitting, or if you want some lessons, or if you want to look at some high quality yarn from the States.
Awesome.
Thank
And can you tell me a little bit about your fiber story? How old were you when you started to learn or play with fiber?
Actually, I've only been knitting for about 20 years, and we ran our own business, and it was stressful, and I needed to do something for myself to unwind. And down the street from where our office was a little ice cream store, and they had some ladies that came in and taught knitting. So I took some classes and quickly decided that was my answer, and been knitting ever since.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us
Well,
here.
thank you for inviting me.
Hi. And you are
I'm Collier,
Collier,
and I'm spinning.
and you're spinning. And what are you spinning on?
This is a Lindrum, which is a quite modern spinning wheel.
And it's portable.
It's portable, it folds down, it goes in a backpack.
Perfect. And what are you spinning?
I am spinning prepared, already dyed sheep's wool.
Excellent. So tell me a little bit about your fiber story. What got you into playing with fiber?
It was many years ago. It's about, well, it's probably over 40 years ago now. I had a friend whose twin sister
was an occupational therapist. And back in those days, they taught occupational therapists to spin and to weave to help people who needed hand rehabilitation.
Interesting.
They don't really do that anymore, unfortunately. But she knew how to spin, she knew how to weave, and she said, oh, well, you can make your own sweater and save money. I'm still trying to make a profit at this. I probably never will.
But you're enjoying
It's fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you
That's
very
awesome
much.
very much. I love it. I love all this fiber. Look, check it out.
Before you get...
Oh,
Do you
yes.
have pockets in there? No, you don't.
No.
So
Hola, mi nombre es Fabiana. Aprendí a tejer muy niña, me enseñó mi mamá.
Oh, sí.
Sí, hoy lo uso como entretenimiento, antiestrés y a veces vendo también. Y bueno, hago de todo un poquito.
Ah, qué bueno. Y usted me dice antes que esa ayuda de su salud, demostrarme que esta, ¿por qué? ¿Es sus manos o cuál pasó?
Sí, porque tengo un problema de atrofia cortical
Ajá,
en la parte izquierda del cerebro
ajá.
y me afecta la movilidad,
Ah,
el equilibrio. Entonces cuando tejo, pues me ayuda.
ah, qué
Me
bueno.
ayuda a tener un poco más de equilibrio con el tejido.
Excelente, eso es terapéutico.
Sí.
Excelente. Well, gracias por venir aquí y celebrar con nosotros un día de tejer.
Gracias a ustedes por su gentileza
qué bueno.
y por la invitación. Se siente muy bien acá.
Oh, gracias.
My name is Denise Tupper. I've been here for 7 years now, and I craft. I do all the things that I couldn't do when I was working, and I'm now retired. So this is called locker hook, and it's usually done with a rug woven background, but this is all I can find here. So it works because as long as you make the fabric that you're pulling through narrow enough, it comes through the hoop, and then at the end I washi paper tape my cord, which is a cotton cord here, made in Ecuador, and it pulls through the loop, so it locks the loop that you pull through. And it's a simple, you pull it through, and you go again, and you pull it through, and then you lock it with the thread,
Very neat.
and it forms a carpet, or a book, or ornament, or
And you were saying that the fabric that
the
you're
fabric
using?
is all the school uniforms. The children, little girls' long skirts that they wear here. These are all the different colors of the school uniforms, and I cut them into strips. And the one on the back is what you pull through, and the cord stays on top. And you can cheat and make yourself your own hook. But the latcher hook is a little bit longer, and you just thread it. And this is a little more secure. I can't tell you how many times I thread it.
So it has like a
Has
needle,
a needle hole, a big one, like a rug yarn hole. But for me, this is like glass of wine, sit and watch Netflix, and pull it through.
Awesome.
And it's and of course the uniforms here are very durable. They used to be wool, but now they're polyester. So of course it makes a really durable rug.
Excellent.
But that's what we are attempting to make here, is a rug for the front door. Rains a lot here in Cuenca, so
So you need to have something at that front door.
so
Well, thank you for joining us here today.
thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me today on the Green-Eyed Ram. I'm Ruthie. I am on Instagram, Ravelry, and of course here on YouTube, also on Facebook as the Green-Eyed Ram. Hope to see you around. Make a comment below and subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down if you didn't like it, or just give me some idea of what you liked, what you didn't like. What are you working on? What creative aspects in your life are you exploring right now? We don't need to be perfect. No, I'm not perfect. Far from it. Jack of all trades, master of none. I just keep trying. Bye. And I think she thinks Logan's toes are hot dogs. Santi papas. Coco's taken to her right away, just another playmate.